I'm Jen, and I'm a woman in long-term recovery. I'm also a CARC, a SERPA, a rape crisis counselor, and an Narcan trainer. If you're new here, welcome. If you look at my description box down below, you're going to find what I feel is the most important thing, which is the link to my Amazon wish list for my go bags. What go bags are is what I use to help people in my local community who are struggling just home from incarceration, rehab, homeless, inactive addiction, mental health issues, etc. All the things, right? I have a whole bunch of stuff on there. Lately, I'm really low on food. So I could really use some food. You guys hooked it up a couple weeks ago with a pack of tents, and I'm super grateful. Believe it or not, I think I have like 3 tents left. And there was like 20. We are having a huge housing crisis and shortage here, and we are having to, unfortunately, tell people they have to be in tents. I'm just grateful to be able to have the tents to provide that for them. So also, you will find all my social media. And you will also find the link to Smacked, a documentary that I was in while under my maiden name back in 2017 when I was about 3 seconds sober. Like, maybe not even. So please check that out as well. Today's video is, I'm going to tell you exactly what happened and how I ended up incarcerated 4 years ago for 2 sealed indictments of methamphetamines. I had been given meth accidentally the year before by someone that I trusted and thought was a friend, and I thought he was giving me a few lines of cocaine. Turns out he was giving me a few lines of methamphetamines. I didn't even know what meth was. Like, I had no clue about it. I didn't understand what it was like. I didn't know anything like it. Jared had previously done it like one time in his like late teens, early 20s. And when I told him about it, he was like, babe, that was not coke, that was meth. Like, I'm gonna fuck him up. Like, he gave you meth. And I was like, no. And the next time the same guy gave it to me, I kept some of it and I brought it to Jared so he could tell me how right I was and how wrong he was. And it turned out to be the other way around. So Jared's birthday is actually August 9th, which is today, the day that I'm filming, by the way. So give Jared a shout out for happy birthday. And I had just, going back 4 years ago, like a week before his birthday, I had just picked up an absurd amount of meth and spent all our spending money. And then I was like, damn, it's his birthday. So I was eager to sell large quantities. And I had this one girl living with me, and I knew she was a snitch because she straight up told me she did a buy for dope on her now fiance, actually. I don't even know if he knows. Really weird circle around here. Anyway, so her sister is actually who my snitch is. Their mom was on probation, and probation can do no-knocks whenever they want. So they came in, they did a no-knock search, and they found 3 or 4 Vicodin outside the bathroom window of the apartment where they were living. So instead of this girl just stepping up, we'll call her Summer. Instead of Summer just stepping up and taking the charge for like the 3 or 4 pills, which would have been an appearance ticket, and she probably could have talked her way out of it completely because it was her first charge, she said, oh, I know this girl that my sister lives with. She sells meth. So yeah. So as soon as she said meth, their ears went because why wouldn't they? Because that was the beginning of the end of our county with meth. And they were like, oh yeah, guess whatever deal they worked out, she decided to do buys with me. And she had called me previously to lie to me and tell me she was going to go in with some guy from work and that, you know, they wanted whatever. And I did not care for this girl. And I told Jared, and Jared was like, no, I don't trust her. No, do not sell to her. And I was greedy and I was eager to get the money back that I had spent. And I told her some ridiculous price. I have the paper, so I'm going to post periodically throughout this whole video. I'm going to post my entire discovery packet because I have it. But I ended up selling her like, I think it was like 2 grams for $280. And she paid it. with their money. I even have photocopies of the money. She came to my house. She told me she was going to meet me. And I told her, Jared was like, no, I don't want you to sell to her. I said, well, I'll leave it outside for her in like a container. She can grab it and leave the money. Leave it in a container, you can grab it. And she said, no, I'm nervous leaving that much money outside. Someone else can pick it up. I should have known. I should have known. But greedy ass that I was back then, I was like, all right, fine, but you have to come while Jared's still asleep. So she was like, okay. So she came, I think early one morning, like 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. I don't even remember. And whatever, I sold to her right in the car. They never had video, nothing. They just had audio. So they must have wired her up, which is crazy. It's still, all of it just blows my mind. Like, I know this girl since she's like 15, this summer girl. That goes fine, whatever. I like completely short her. Like, she paid for 2 grams. I think I gave her 1.5 grams and she paid almost $300. Okay, cool. Next day, like that night, she tells me it was so great. You know, she had to split it with that guy, but she wants to get for her. Can she come back and pick up another gram? So I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. So the next morning she comes up. Next afternoon she comes, and Bella's outside riding her bike. Jared wasn't home, so I was like, you can come now. Literally, she's in the driveway and Jared ends up pulling in. Like, it's even in my report. You guys will be able to see it. So I remember even having a conversation with her because Bella had saw a keychain she liked on her keys, and Bella was like, oh, Summer, can you get me that keychain? And she was like, oh yeah, I love you so much, Bella, da 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 da. As you're setting her mother up. Cool. You know, absolutely everything happened in my life for a reason, and I'm super appreciative of it, and I'm grateful for my incarceration because I'm still alive. But the simple fact that this person came into my life, I was at my home, the way she went about it was just grimy. You know, talk about tongue in cheek. Like, on one hand, you're setting me up to go to prison because you know that's what's going to happen because I'm already a felon. There's no 2 ways about it. I'm going to prison. And then you're telling my child how you love her and want to take her to the park. Hate grimy people. Hate it. So she did her second, you know, bye with me and went back. And, you know, it's crazy because you'll see the papers and I redacted a lot of the names because I don't feel that that is anyone's business, aside from my own and Jared's name, because that's something you guys all already know. But it says in there, her, she, her car, her this. So I knew exactly who it was. And the simple fact that her own sister told me that she did it. So yeah. I think we all have a path that we walk on, and we all choose what we do and don't do. And she chose to not accept responsibility for her own things and push that off on me. And yes, I was doing wrong, but so is she. And the only way we learn is when we accept responsibility for the things that we have done. And I still don't know if she has. So two buys were done on me. I was arrested for something else in October. And then on Veterans Day, while I was incarcerated in the jail, I thought I was being released because I was brought up front. Joke's on you. I was being rearrested, and I was rearrested for 2 sealed indictments of sales of methamphetamines. Obviously, once I got the papers, and now they're unsealed, clearly. I've done my time for them and everything. And then I was sentenced. I ended up dropping, my plea deal was I did 3 years of incarceration, 2 years post-release. So that means I was on parole, but super duper parole for 2 years post-release. And instead of being sentenced on 2 sealed indictments, or 2 indictments, I should say, I was only sentenced on 1 charge. Sorry if you hear background. Bella's going in and out of the house. I apologize. Please don't come for me in the comment section. Please. So I ended up doing 3 years. Altogether, I ended up doing 22 months. My sentence was 3 years. So altogether, I did 1.5 years in regular prison, and then I did 6 months of shock, as you all know. And I am very grateful for all of that. And I'm blessed that I'm still here to share these stories, because as we know, these drugs are killing people. So I'm grateful for it. But I still have animosity towards the person because I feel like Don't come to my house after I repeatedly told you no for months that I didn't want to sell it to you. It was my own greed and stupidity that got in the way. But don't come and tell my kid you want to take her to the park and you love her when you're sending her mom to prison. I just have some real animosity behind that. And I probably will for forever, to be quite honest. I'm going to show you guys, stay tuned after this, because I'm going to post a lot of pictures of my discovery pack so you guys can look at that and see that. And I want to tell you thank you all for all the beautiful messages and posts and comments and whatnot in regards to my friend Liz who passed away. I really appreciate it and I'm grateful for it. So thank you. And remember, we recover loudly, so those behind us do not suffer in silence. Bye.